Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome to the Cash Media Corp channel. My name is Andres, and today I'm pretty excited because we get to talk about DC. Alright, enough of that shit. That shit was taking way too long. I'm so excited to talk about DC, man. We received so much news on DC, so I'm super excited that I finally get to talk about some DC because I love DC, and DC is my choice when it comes to superhero stuff. But yeah, we got a great article done by the Hollywood Reporter, and they reported a ton of news on DC, so that's what we're going to talk about today. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. So first up on the list is going to be that James Gunn is actually currently working on a project or two for DC. Right now it's kind of being kept a secret, so we don't know what it's going to be. The article basically says that sources tell THR that Gunn and producer Peter Safran are in talks with Warner's for a mystery movie, possibly more that Gunn will tackle. Peter Safran's already in the DC world. He produced Shazam, and he's actually producing the next one, the sequel coming up, Fury of the God. The article continues to say that they don't really know what hero or team James Gunn is tackling, but we do know that he's working on Peacemaker first. I definitely enjoyed Suicide Squad, the one that he did. It was way better than the original Suicide Squad, the one that we got in theaters. The original Suicide Squad was yikes. That shit was an abomination. I wanted to leave the theater when I was watching that. But the new one is definitely way better. It's a lot more fun. Some great characters, some great character moments actually that, you know, kind of were heartfelt. Some amazing action as well. The gore was actually really surprising, but it was actually very welcomed. It had some funny jokes here and there sprinkled throughout the movie. It really set up for some amazing characters like Peacemaker, characters that weren't in the limelight, you know, like Polka Dot Man, and everybody felt for Polka Dot Man in the movie. King Shark was funny, Ratcatcher, Harley Quinn was good in it as well. Bloodsport was so cool. So like he really brought life to kind of like these C-list characters in the DC Comics world, giving them a great story and elevating them to the point of where we want to see these characters again, you know? So I think he did a really good job. Peacemaker was also great, but a little bit too jokey at times. It was a little too goofy. So like kind of towards the end, I was like, damn, this is every episode is goofy as fuck. Like, you know, like can it be serious for a second? But overall, the whole experience of Peacemaker was pretty damn fun. It had some amazing moments, and spoiler warning if you haven't seen the series yet, but it had a pretty cool cameo at the end of the season with Flash and Aquaman and the Justice League with Wonder Woman and Superman. But it was also funny too because it lets you know how not under control DC has their universe because they just had silhouettes of Wonder Woman and Superman. So it's kind of funny, like they couldn't get the actors to be in the cameo, but it was a pretty cool cameo nonetheless. So yeah, he gave us some good stuff, man. He definitely knows how to handle characters and lower level characters at that, and bring them up to a level where, you know, you end up caring a lot about them, just like how you did with Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, I think a lot of people didn't know about Guardians of the Galaxy before the movie came out. So besides like the Marvel heads that, you know, read the comics and stuff, but most people didn't know. I didn't know who the hell the Guardians of the Galaxy were. So look at where they are now in the MCU, like one of the staples of the MCU, the teams. So it's cool. Like he has that ability to, you know, to bring out the best in these characters and, you know, give them funny lines, give them heartfelt moments, but also kind of have a good action movie as well. So I think James Gunn is a pretty damn good superhero director. So I'm excited to see what else he can cook up in the DC universe. I'm trying to think of like certain characters that he could tackle or movies and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. But definitely some good news that James Gunn is sticking around and making more DC projects. The next piece of the article gets pretty crazy. It's like, it's just thrown in there and it's like one of the biggest things ever, and they're just basically confirming that Man of Steel 2 is in the works. Like they're saying that under Warner Bros. Discovery CEO David Zaslav, I think I pronounced his name right, and Warner Bros. Pictures heads Michael DeLuca and Pam Adby, Warner has an intense desire to reprise the Cavill iteration of the hero, which is amazing. I mean, come on, Henry Cavill as Superman is just perfect, you know? Like me personally, Man of Steel is one of the best comic book movies ever. I know a lot of people hated it, and I know a lot of people hated that iteration of Superman, but fuck you. Man of Steel is my favorite, one of my favorite superheroes, probably second to the Batman. But yeah, man, Henry Cavill as Superman is just perfect for me. The way they depicted him in Man of Steel is just like so humanizing, man. You know, like you feel for him. you connect with him, because if you see like he's on this journey all alone, and then, you know, he meets people like Lois that kind of make him feel like a human and things like that. And then that's even more intensified in Batman vs Superman, where he, you know, tries to do the good thing and be Superman, and the world knows that he exists now. And so, like, you know, people have their opinions on him and things like that. So he goes through that internal struggle of like, damn, like, what do I do? Should I even be Superman? Because anything I do is under a microscope, and, you know, stuff like that. So I just love Henry Cavill's version of Superman. He's just so awesome. So the fact that the heads of Warner's right now are like very, very interested in bringing his Superman back is amazing. But then the article continues to say that the project that would essentially be Man of Steel 2 is being produced by Charles Roven and is currently searching for writers, which is crazy. Like, it's in the works. It's in the works. After years of fucking waiting for Man of Steel 2, it's crazy like that we're actually getting some traction with Man of Steel. Like, man, this is so good. And also the next part right now is gonna be a spoiler warning, so I'll leave a little thing right here to let you know when I stop talking about it. You can mute it if you want. But this is all thanks to The Rock, man. I mean, which is crazy, because like, yo, your star power did it. Like, in the article, he basically fought to get Henry Cavill in Black Adam as the, you know, like as a cameo at the end of the movie. And I wish I would have not known that, because like it would have been a crazy surprise to see in the theater. I probably would have teared up. But like The Rock himself was like spoiling the movie before the movie comes out. Like, he's talking about Superman and how they fought to get him in the fucking movie and everything like that. So they spoiled it for everybody. But that's crazy. Like, yo, he really brought back Superman into the mix. It was all because the previous CEO of Warner's, Walter Hamada, he really like didn't want any trace of Zack Snyder's like universe moving forward in DC. He shot down the idea of Henry being in Shazam because The Rock actually went to him and asked him if they could have him in the movie, and he shot it down. So he went around Walter Hamada to the other guys, David and Michael DeLuca, and they said, yeah, of course, let's get him in there. So like they worked everything out, and they shot the reshoots, I think like in September of last year. So yeah, they've been working hard to get Henry back, man. And remember that picture like 10 years ago? It almost feels like 10 years ago, but I think it was like 5 years ago, of like The Rock and Henry Cavill sitting at the table. Like, they had this plan. It was just like Walter Hamada didn't want, you know, Henry Cavill in because he was tied to Zack Snyder's universe. So they were trying to wipe all that shit out. But we won, bitches. But yeah, man, I'm so happy, man, that we're getting like some type of movement in the DCEU, where it's looking like they're having some type of structure, you know? And that's exciting, man, because for DC fans, like, you know, we haven't been really eating really in terms of movies. Everything is like so disconnected and like it's so messy in the films. So like the fact that they're starting to like kind of plan stuff out now and like look towards the future of DC is pretty cool, man. I really hope they follow Marvel's phases, because honestly they did it perfectly, man, in terms of like phases and structure. Obviously, I want them to have different content, but the actual structure of Marvel is perfect. You know, the phases is perfect because everything is planned out for like 10 movies ahead. Everybody works together, so you can have that nice connected universe. I want to have those, like, I want to have two universes. I want to have the connected, structured, story-driven universe of DC that includes all these crazy characters and stuff like that. But also I want the, you know, the solo universe, which is for movies like the Joker and the Batman that can, like, you know, shine in those type of things where, you know, you get different artists and different directors and creators to create a different story, you know, like just like the comics, you know, there's long runs with the whole connected universe, but there's also one-shot runs of the, you know, our beloved characters like Batman and Green Lantern and all that stuff like that. Like there's also one-off shots of different creators that get their hands on the character and write them a whole new story that has nothing to do with maybe a different run that's going on at the same time. But the news that Henry Cavill is back and they're actually working towards getting Man of Steel 2 off the ground and they're looking for writers and stuff like that is amazing. So it's just fucking amazing news, man. I'm so happy that, you know, we're getting Superman back, man. All I need right now is just some news on the Green Lanterns. That's it. Like, cause like if you don't know, the Green Lanterns are my favorite DC thing ever. they're my favorite. Everything that has to do with the Green Lantern Corps, all the lanterns, all the color spectrum, all the rings, all that stuff is like, that's my favorite. This whole channel is based off the Green Lantern. It's called the Couch Media Corps. Like, it's based off, you know, the Green Lantern Corps. And even one of the intros is like that I have for like the superhero content is like the ring finding me. And then choosing me to be its couch representative. But yeah, I love them so much. Like, it's my favorite. So all I need is that. I know we have that. I know we have that HBO Max show cooking. They're working on it, but they're keeping it very under wraps. Like, there's barely any news on it. There's like one casting, I think, of Guy Gardner, but there's not really much on it. But they are saying that they're working really hard because the show, it's big, it has a lot of stories, and they're making it kind of on the cinematic level. So that's pretty damn cool. So I can't wait to get some news on that. But I've been missing Green Lantern, man. At one point, Green Lanterns in the comics was like the centerpiece of DC. Like, they had so many amazing stories, and they were the centerpiece of DC, where all the worlds were connected to them. I hope we get Green Lantern back in the live action world, because that'll be amazing. And the next up on the list is just as exciting as the Superman stuff, is that Matt Reeves not only is working on the Batman sequel, but he's also working on spin-off movies and TV shows for the Rogues Gallery, which is freaking incredible, man. Like I said a couple minutes ago, like, the Batman, for me, is the best comic book, is the best superhero movie for me, personally. That's like the best one out of everything. Marvel, DC, all that shit. Like, there's nothing beating that movie for me. Like, the way I felt in that theater when I was watching that shit was incredible. It's perfect. It's like almost a perfect movie. Like, you could nitpick it to bring it down to not being perfect, but me, that movie is fucking perfect, man. I've seen it like 7 times. I own every version of it, the freaking 4K, the digital copy. If you can see in the background, I have all this shit, the Batman stuff. Like, it was an amazing movie, man. It's just like the performances, the tone, the characters, the story, everything, man. The journey of Batman, you know, going from dark to becoming that hope that Gotham needs and stuff like that is just so perfect. Paul Dano as the Riddler was just perfect. You got that little tease of the Joker at the end with Barry playing him. And we got that even better scene after the movie was finished. Like, they dropped the deleted scene with the Joker and the Batman having that interaction in Arkham, and that was even better. Like, it made me even more hyped for this universe, and even more hyped for Barry to be the Joker, because I think all of us are like, damn, yo, there's too many Jokers in the world, you know? Like, we have too many. Like, every year so there's a new Joker, but Barry pulled it off, man. I think he's gonna be an amazing Joker, and not to mention Joaquin Phoenix, which completely destroyed his role as Joker. That movie was amazing, by the way, too. But yeah, like, this Matt Reeves verse is just so good. And then Colin Farrell too as the Penguin. Like, who would have thought, like, he got lost in that role? Like, you didn't even know it was him if you didn't, like, look it up, you know? His performance was freaking incredible. So, like, the Batman was just so good for me. So the fact that Matt Reeves is like they're letting Matt Reeves continue his world and kind of build out that universe, but tackling each villain, even more obscure ones. The article says that he's trying to tackle Scarecrow, Clayface, and Professor Pig. Like, what? Clayface? That's amazing. And Professor Pig, like, under the guidance of Matt Reeves, that shit could be super creepy. This Riddler in the Batman was kind of modeled after the Zodiac Killer, and it was kind of creepy at times, you know? So the Professor Pig is even worse. Like, he's even creepier. So, like, I'm just excited to see what the hell he could do with those type of characters, you know? And we all know Batman has one of the best rogues galleries in comic books. You know, Spider-Man is probably close to him, but Batman has some amazing characters and amazing villains. So, you know, Matt Reeves has so much to choose from. Thinking of, like, castings for these characters, and, like, hear me out. I think Nicolas Cage would be an amazing Professor Pig. Right? What do you guys think? Leave your thoughts in the comments, but I think he would be a freaking amazing Professor Pig. Like, he can play that crazy ass role, you know? Yeah, man, that's such good news. And we also have the Penguin show that's already in production. Like, I think they're gonna start shooting next year, and that's gonna be amazing too, because you know, after the performance that Colin put on as the Penguin, like you want to see where the hell the character goes. You know, he brought so much to the character, so you definitely don't want it to end with that movie. And Colin's actually talked about how the opening scene is gonna be him in Falcone's office, like, and his feet is submerged in water. So it's like taking place, I think he said a couple weeks after the Batman. That's gonna be so good, man. It's gonna be so interesting. Like, we have so much stuff to look forward to in the DC universe now. Like, I'm so giddy. We also had that Arkham Asylum project that he was working on as well. Originally it started off as a GCPD show, but they said over the time they slowly, you know, molded it into like an Arkham Asylum series. So maybe that's where he'll introduce some of these villains. Who knows, because, you know, as we know, Arkham Asylum is the home of all these villains. So man, I can't wait to see what the hell Matt Reeves cooks up. Some super good news when it comes to the Matt Reeves verse. But yeah, that's some amazing news, honestly, in the DC world, and it's a lot, actually, a lot more than we've been given in the last couple years. Honestly, the DC universe has kind of been at a standstill, really. Like, they've been dropping movies here and there, but in terms of like the connected universe, it's kind of really was up in the air until now. Like, if you want to read the article for yourself, I'll leave it linked in the description below, so you can get the full article and see some of the quotes and dialogue they had with the CEOs and things like that. What do you guys think of all the news, the DC news? Like, this is amazing, right? If you're a DC head, like, it can't get better than that. Like, we have a Superman sequel in the works with Henry Cavill back as the lead, which is amazing. We have the Matt Reeves verse continuing. We got James Gunn working on a couple different projects, which I have faith in. So far, the two things that he's put out for DC has been great. But yeah, thank you everybody for watching. I appreciate you guys tuning in. And if you like this video, consider giving it a thumbs up. That would mean the world to me. And also, if you're not subscribed yet, what are you doing, man? It's like, no, I'm kidding. It would be awesome if you did subscribe. And it also helps the channel out immensely if we interact, if you like, comment, and subscribe, and all that good stuff. So please do that if you like the video. But yeah, that's about it, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed all this DC news. Get out there and read some of those articles so you can kind of, you know, see everything that they talked about. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I appreciate it. And like always, until we meet again on the next video, peace.